Hey everybody, how's it going? So today I'd like to go over something that front page Reddit that has aggravated a lot of people and just give a little bit of my perspective on it as someone who has dealt with New York City government in terms of running a business a lot on and off over the past 10 years with the mixed results. So this here is a video of New York City sanitation trashing an entire stall of fresh fruit and vegetables because the vendor was unlicensed. So I'm going to play this here and we will watch it together. Let me just turn on desktop audio so that you can actually hear what I hear.
Stupid authority, and you think you some shit, and there's people out here ain't got no motherfucking food. How dare you? How dare both of y'all say some shit like that? There's people out here ain't got no fucking food, but y'all don't even the motherfucking garbage. How fucking dare you? I ain't eat all day, and you gonna take the motherfucking beef for fucking.
To be clear, I don't want this video to particularly farm outrage for this particular incident, because food safety is important. I think food safety is an incredibly important issue. I don't want to eat stuff where I don't know where I got it from and I wind up getting something and dying, but rather I would really like to focus on A, the fact that there is a lot of waste in this city, not just on the public side, but also on the private side, where food that is sealed, that is not even to its best by date, just gets tossed out simply because the container has a marking on it. And B, the fact that it is ridiculously difficult to interface with the city, as you can see from this particular Reddit comment. When someone asks how difficult it is to get a street license, and someone comments and says that it's very difficult, licenses are limited. There's even a nonprofit advocacy group called the Street Vendor Project that tries to bring light to this issue, demonstrating that, the New York City is not just a city that makes it difficult to do something like sell a laptop to a consumer when I have all the records that show how I got it. It is also a city that even makes it difficult to sell food to people in an affordable manner if they can't afford to go to Trader Joe's or Whole Foods to buy their produce. Now, there are some interesting comments at the top of this thread. One of them is talking about, while I disagree with the handling of it, it's important to note this is a public health concern. Anyone recall the outbreak from cantaloupes a few years back? 33 people died. And then someone else was saying, something about the licensing and profit. Let me just find that comment because that one was one to comment on. It said, these folks likely took huge profits with ample opportunity to gain a valid license before they were shut down. This type of thing usually does not come without a warning. So I think that there's a lot of assumption there that it's easy to get licensed by the city or that it is easy to deal with licensing in the city of New York. So again, I am not a millionaire, but I'm also not broke either. I have, I have about a dozen employees at any given time, and it is easy for me to make the time to comply with ordinances and regulations so that we can do business. And, even with us, it's virtually impossible to deal with the city in a reasonable manner. So I did a video a while back when I was moving my business about not getting a license for several months. So all I wanted to do was a change of address. My receptionist was actually on the phone with the DCA almost at the point of tears because they were screaming at her as she was trying to get the license. And just about 4 months later, they sent me a license in the mail, and that license was ripped. And then recently, I was selling laptops in the front of the store. I have records in Repair Shopper. I have records where it shows the customer typing to me, "You can keep the machine." We didn't buy it. And another customer that for several years had left a device here. We email, we called, we email, we call, we text message over the period of longer than a year, and they never get back to us. I have the full record of this and the contract they signed that says if you don't contact us within 45 days, then it belongs to us. And we were willing to show this to an inspector that came in. The inspector says, we need to see the entry in Leads Online where you purchased this, or else this is not legal. And I said, well, there's no purchase, and I have the full record of how we got this without purchasing it, and we wind up getting fined anyway. I spoke to the city to try and figure out how to comply with this regulation. So I've called them, I've sent them certified mail, I've emailed them, and this is the closest that I've gotten to a reply. I will play it for you, and this is another one. Text messages or emails. Does that have to get entered into the Leads Online database, or how does that work? That is the closest that I got to a reply from the city. So I did what any logical person would do at that point. I took down my secondhand dealer's license, I ripped it up, and I no longer sell laptops. What I do is I reuse the parts from those machines that are abandoned in other devices when we can use them, which is actually considerably more profitable than selling them, even if it means that we have less options available to the community. Dealing with New York City government in any way, shape, or form is a complete and utter nightmare. Now, there is a very well thought through comment in a different Reddit thread that I want to bring attention to by Kay Alexandria, and she makes many, many good points in this one comment. And as to why it is important that you have some idea where the food is coming from before you just allow it to be sold. But when you get close to the end of it, it says the license is $250 for 2 years or $10.10 a month. This vendor could forgo purchasing 1 case of tomatoes pictured in this video and afford their license. There is no excuse. And it may be a case where it's not even necessarily about the money. This may not be about the money that's being saved by not being licensed. Rather, it could be that this person decided to call up the city and they got this after being on hold for about 3 hours.
Or how does that work?
I wouldn't be particularly surprised if the people who are dealing with food service licenses in New York City are giving out the same when answering questions that the people who are dealing with Department of Consumer Affairs licenses are giving out. And when you see that there are nonprofits that are dedicated to just bringing attention to the fact that it is a complete clusterfuck to get a food service or a street vendor license in the city, you kind of get an idea that there is a bit of a systemic problem there. And yeah, it may just be that this person just wanted to avoid it so that they could make slightly more money. That's always a possibility. But it's also a possibility that they were going through a complete bureaucratic nightmare and clusterfuck, and as a result of it, maybe the city government was working a little slow due to COVID, and they did not want to not sell food during that period of time to people who typically want the type of food that you're going to get from a street vendor selling fruit, which are people that can't afford to go over to Whole Foods and pay full price for it. And I do think that this is kind of sad and also wasteful. But it actually continues what I believe to be an interesting private-public partnership that the city has going on. So you'll always hear about these private-public partnerships, and again, I'm being tongue-in-cheek here for those who have no sense of humor. But this is something that's been going on for years, and there are many YouTube channels and Instagrams that document it, which is a trend where grocery stores and pharmacy, all different types of places, throw away perfectly good stuff rather than give it away for free because they believe it would devalue their merchandise or devalue their brand. So these are just a couple that my girlfriend Erica did, and she used to film this. She used to actually go to these places and take stuff out of garbage. And, there are several videos on her channel. You can check it out, youtube.com/Cinevision, and you will find this stuff. She would go through and she would often find stuff that is 1 week, not even after the Best Buy date, which is not an expiration date, by the way. Best Buy is not an expiration date. She would often find stuff that isn't even to the Best Buy date. It would be 1 week before the Best Buy date. It would be completely sealed. The container would have the teeny tiniest bit of damage on it, and they would throw it away. You would have stuff where, I don't know, like there was a nick in the label, and they would throw it away. And we ate for free for a very long time when she was doing this. At some point, it started to get a little bit more aggressive for people of her stature and appearance to be doing this at 1 a.m, so she stopped. But there was a good period of time where we were, a good 3 or 4 months where we were eating almost for free, just off of the crap that grocery stores were throwing away that hadn't even expired yet. I got this facial stuff, this from Erica. What was that place called? The place you got the face cream stuff from? Yeah, Nature Republic. So they threw away something like $500 worth of. And I'm not the type of guy to try to give myself a facial or to care about my skincare routine or anything. But if I can get $500 worth of skincare for free, hey, I'll try it. I'll do it. And, I remember doing this $500 skincare routine just because I can't resist it when something is made available for free. And the only reason it was thrown away is I imagine they got a new product in. So you have stuff that was completely sealed out on the street. And again, I'm pretty ugly, but my face has not been, eaten away by acid as a result of that. There's so much crap that gets thrown away for free by private institutions in New York City. And there's entire groups of dumpster divers that do this. Now, you may think it's disgusting. People going through a dumpster. And admittedly, I used to think that I had the exact same first impression when Erica was telling me about this. But there's stuff in there that's completely fully sealed, that hasn't expired yet, that stores just throw away on a regular basis. And that is kind of aggravating. And then when you actually see the city government doing this and just coming by and tossing out ripe fruit, it does kind of hit you, particularly if you're one of those people that knows just how much waste there is in the city. If you don't have that back context of understanding, A, what a clusterfuck it is to get or maintain a city license, or even get an answer as to what it is you are and are not allowed to do. Do keep in mind, it has been 6 months since I posted that video. I still have not received a response from anybody in New York City government that has answered my question. What do I do in this situation? What do I have to do to make this legal? But again, digress. That's a different fucking topic, even though it makes me very salty. If you don't have the back context of A, how difficult it is to get anything done with this fucking city, B, how much waste there already is in New York City on the private end side, it's easy to understand that this person may just be bitching over nothing, and this video is just here to farm clicks and views and outrage. But there really is a giant amount of waste in New York City as it is. And when you see this, it's gonna hit people in some type of way, and I understand why it is when they're witnessing all of the waste that you have here. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think that all of this stuff should be wasted? Do you think it shouldn't be wasted? What are your thoughts? And yeah, let me know what you think. This is BlackBerry to my right. This is Mr. Clinton to my left. As you can see, BlackBerry is awake and ready for duty, whereas Mr. Clinton is sleeping like the lazy prick that he is. We talked about renewing his contract because he hadn't been coming up on the chair for a while. And I finally renewed his contract, and once I renewed his contract, he started sleeping. Bum. Anyway, see you all in the next video. Bye now.